Hey everyone. So I just wanted to kind of touch base with you guys this week and give you a heads up for what's coming up in the next few weeks, and then also, I actually just kind of want to share a little bit about what I've been up to. I've been doing a ton of reading. I read through Man's Search for Meaning, which is by Viktor Frankl. So good. It's about a Jewish survivor from Auschwitz, but it's an incredible kind of harrowing experience, and also has a lot to share about like what we're going through right now. I also read Slaughterhouse-Five again. That's a good one. An Animal Farm, all of which are kind of a World War II theme unintentionally, but very good. And then, anything, any Calvin and Hobbes, please read it. It's so good. This is one of our favorites at our house. The other thing that I've started reading is a book called Scattered, and it's about attention deficit disorder and how it starts and what you can do about it. Let's just say I'm learning a ton about myself through this book. I've also been listening to a lot of podcasts when I go on my runs or do a workout. A recent favorite has been Song Exploder, where they take an artist and one song by this artist and they kind of deconstruct it from its first inklings of inspiration to its full completed work. I've also been revisiting some old music. This is a band called Tristeza. They were like kind of a late 90s, early 2000 band. So good live, but it's real like groove kind of trance music. I like to work to things like this. And in fact, a lot of the things I've been listening to are kind of work related, so there's not a lot of lyrical, or at least you don't have to pay attention to the lyrics, or there's not too much going on. Another one I've been really enjoying again is Heaven or Las Vegas by Cocteau Twins. They were kind of like a early '80s no wave band, and then they kind of they've evolved, over the years. This record came out in like the early '90s. It's so good, and it actually reminds me so much of all the things I love about one of my other favorite bands, called Y Oak. Actually, you can't see their. Here's the title of their band, Y Oak. This is a record called Tween. It's so good. But the other ones, Shriek is fantastic. Civilian, everything is good. This band is amazing. A little more lyric heavy, so sometimes I can't work to it, but I thought there was a good parallel between these two records. I've been playing lots of music. I'm writing a ton, lots of songs. It's a lot of fun for me to kind of take an idea and then just kind of build it up and build it up. I've been recording stuff on GarageBand and, writing lyrics and poems and putting it together. And, I don't know if it's any good, but it's fun to do. I've also been playing a ton of cello, actually. And I recently just sat in with a band here in town called Shoshin Trio. And they're kind of like kind of avant-garde. The music just evolves into something, so it's all improvisation and whatever inspiration you get from the other musicians or the environment around you. It was a lot of fun to do. I hadn't done a ton of music like that. I hope I did a good job, but it was a lot of fun. Anyways, we did that over Zoom and kind of tried to create something that we'll see how it turns out after we edit it all. Anyways, so that's kind of what I've been up to. I just like sharing some of those things. It's important for me to remember myself that I have to find things that I love in this moment of kind of very trying time. We'll drive ourselves insane, right, if we don't find some of the things that we love to do. And whether it's driving myself insane or driving my family insane, I'm trying to make sure I set aside time to do some of those things that I love. So writing music, writing anything, reading, listening to music, all that stuff. Please make sure that you're setting aside some time in your day to find those things that you love. I'm happy to give you more selections and ideas or suggestions if you're interested. It's something I love doing. A lot of this stuff I'm doing is frankly in order to avoid doing some of the work that I have to do. There's a Zoom meeting every other hour. There's a 10 million emails for the day, and then also I'm taking this doctoral class and I have a 20-page paper due in a couple of weeks. And so I'll be honest, I'm kind of avoiding doing some of that stuff by finding other things to do that I really enjoy. But make sure you're balancing the part of life that you need to kind of sustain life and to feel good, but then also to be on top of your stuff. With that, that's probably a decent transition for kind of what's happening here in orchestra over the next few weeks. What I'm hoping to do is by the end of the school year is to have a virtual orchestra video and audio recording that we can share with the community. I'd initially planned on doing the Mendelssohn, a movement of the Mendelssohn that we passed out kind of right before spring break, but I don't think that would be fair because it's a little challenging and some people may need more support than is possible just by yourself. So what we're essentially doing right now is last week I handed you a choice menu where you kind of worked through a couple of things. It's not due till the end of this week, the 5th week of remote learning. So there was 3 sections. There was creating, performing, and responding. The performing you're doing with your grade. So all the 9th graders have chosen a piece. All the 10th graders, 11th, 12th grade, you've selected a piece of music. Hopefully you kept it simple, because what we're going to do eventually with that is use that as a sample virtual orchestra. And I'll take you through that next week, and I'll clarify in just a moment what you're going to need to complete by the end of this week. The creating one, everyone needs to create something in Soundtrap. There were a couple different choices. They're somewhat similar. There were 3 choices for how you create in Soundtrap. The plan is that you are learning the tools of Soundtrap, because we're going to use that later for our virtual orchestra. So there's kind of it may seem scattered, but there's actually a plan for why we're doing simple songs and simple things in Soundtrap. Now, the responding one, I sent out some links. You just need to respond to one of those videos. With that, let me try to explain what's due this week and kind of what you're aiming for. So each grade is doing a virtual orchestra this week. You should have already selected your music as a group. If you have not, you need to make that happen. Hopefully your piece is easy enough so that you can learn it within a week. Keep it simple. This is a practice one. Again, we're using Soundtrap this week to make a song so that you can learn the tools in Soundtrap that we can later use to edit our virtual orchestra. And that'll make sense next week. Basically what's going to happen is each of you by the end of this week has recorded your part. Next week, we're going to put it into Soundtrap, and you as a grade level, all the 9th graders, are going to collaborate on your piece to edit the music. So essentially you're going to see all of your recordings, in a list, and you're going to have to line them up and edit them so that they sound good together. This may be really difficult. I don't know. We're kind of exploring this feature, which is why I'm again stressing, hopefully you chose something simple. By the way, some of you have not done this yet. You need to sign into Soundtrap using the Soundtrap code in Google Classroom. I'll put it back into this week's topic for week 5. If you use the code from before, from last week, it was different today when I checked it, so maybe it refreshes every week, I don't know. Please use the code that's up there now, because at this point I don't have anybody in my group, and you can't collaborate together unless you're in the same group. Okay, so by Friday, you've recorded your part. You've learned from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You've practiced your piece, and by Friday, honestly, by Sunday, you've finalized your recording. A couple of things to think about. 1, you need to agree on a tempo. If I played 100 beats per minute, but someone else plays at 90 and someone else plays at 110, our music will not fit together. You also need to decide if there's anything tricky. For example, if there's a fermata or a retard. Just kind of make a general suggestion. We're gonna play the fermata and just hold it for so many beats. Then we stop and we count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we start the downbeat or something. Whatever it is, because those are going to be tricky. The other thing would be if there's a retard, just kind of talk through it together. Are we going to play the retard, or should we just play through it in tempo? It doesn't matter. For this piece, it doesn't matter. Keep it simple. The less changes you have to do, if you can just play it straight through, that would be the best. So make sure you agree on the tempo and any kind of tricky spots. So the second thing is have a consistent count off. For example, I would take my metronome, and if we've chosen 100 beats per minute, I would tap it and let it play a couple of times while I'm recording, right? And then I get myself ready, and I'll listen, click, 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 and then I'll count. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's when I start. Here's the next little piece. I know I'm handing you a lot of information right now. This is the third component. But I want to stress, Nothing is simple, right? Like there's always a workaround to make things simple. So the third piece is you have, as a group, chosen a piece of music in Smart Music. Now, my kids and I are doing this exact same thing, and in fact, any of you could do this piece. It's really lovely. It's easy, but it's a lovely piece. We've been working on a piece called A Very Respectable Hobbit. I got this straight out of Smart Music, and you might be saying, Mr. Sauter, how did you get music written on paper? I agree. Many of you have complained about reading music on Smart Music. It's a nightmare. It's awful. I'm not suggesting that we get into the habit of stealing things or messing with copyrights. But in this circumstance, I just took screenshots of each section of the music. I just dragged them into a Google Doc, and then we printed them off. It's allowed us to now get away from the screen and focus on actually playing our music. Burn it as soon as you're done, then it's not a problem. Putting the two concepts together. So now I have my music printed off, and going back to the idea about counting off together, notice that in my part here, the cello part, I have 8 measures of rest before I come in. In order to line up our song in Soundtrap, we need to all start at the same time. So notice it's starting on beat 4, right? So I'm going to listen, click, 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 and then 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to wait. I'm going to count all the way through those 8 measures until it's my turn to play. That way, when we line it up all together, it'll make sense. Again, I know it sounds complicated because we haven't done this. Hopefully you picked a simple piece. If you pick a piece and it's too hard, you have 2 choices. One, pick something simpler. Just pick something easy. The second choice is to just do a section of the piece. So let's say this piece is too hard, but we can play up to measure 48, and it sounds like an okay place to end or something. Then just end it there. We want this to be simple. I don't want you taking up your whole week trying to figure out how to do this. But like I said, musicians do a lot more than just play their instruments. We have to figure out how to translate our music in different ways. And right now, the only way we can communicate with each other and share our music with the world is through digital tools. So I hope that cleared up a lot of things for you. Maybe if it didn't, please come see me during office hours, 1 to 2 o'clock every day. I'm literally sitting here staring at the screen, waiting for people to pop in. So if you can pop in, please say hi, ask me your questions. In fact, it'd be really great to just see a lot of you. Oh, actually, there are quite a few of you that have not even submitted anything or turned it in. Hence the reason I'm sending this video in the email, because many of you it seems like you don't even know that there's work to be done in orchestra. Your 3 pieces of information that you need this week. 1, after you watch the video, sign into Soundtrap using the code. Submit your assignment at the end of this week, your Soundtrap song, under the topic week 5, it'll say Soundtrap assignment. Submit it there. The second thing is recording your part for whatever piece your grade selected. The third thing is there will be a Flipgrid reflection. And all I need you to kind of put in there is just some sort of reflection on how the week went, and how you did getting things done. It's mostly a way for me to see where everybody is. You don't have to do a whole lot. Just share like what you got done, if it was manageable, how it went. Because if this is an absolute nightmare, maybe we need to rethink it. If it's not too bad, then maybe we just need to tweak it a bit more. Because after next week, so this week you're recording, next week we're going to put it all together in a virtual orchestra. So there will be 4 virtual orchestras, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. After that, we're then going to do a full piece all together and hopefully include video as well. This one is only audio. The next one hopefully will be video and audio. This is a learning experience for all of us. It's going to be time consuming, maybe a little frustrating. Do your best work, get your parts in, and on that note, you're going to make mistakes. Some of it's not going to sound great. This is a practice, okay? Make it sound as good as you possibly can, and then we'll go from there. With that, I don't have anything else for you. I hope you're all doing so well. I'm sorry if this was a long video. I hope it cleared up a few things. Um, and I miss you guys so much. And hopefully you're enjoying the sun that's popped out the last couple of days. So I'll see you all later. Have a great day, everybody.